Welcome to another Grow to Cycle tutorial video. Today I'm going to cut straight to the chase because I've already done a couple of these tutorials already. And we're going to show you how you can make your ultimate chili or tomato plant, or in this case we're going to be growing an ultimate basil plant from upcycled plastic bottles. Going to honestly get straight into it. So I've got my notice board pen, and I'm going to first cut near the top. Now in this case you don't need to worry so much about measuring it out because we're not cutting halfway up the bottle, we're just cutting somewhere near the top of the bottle. And again, the cut doesn't need to be perfect in this case because this is not intended to be exactly halfway up. This is just rough and ready cutting, because really what we're looking to do, this will be the container. We want this to be as close to as large a volume as possible to expand, to leave roots, leave volume and leave space for the roots of the plant to expand. But keep the top, I'll show you what you want to do, keep the top of the bottle because this will be very helpful and very handy for the final stage of the planting. Okay, so that's that simple. Now we're going to want to add a aeration and also a root hole in this larger container. One other thing I want to note also is that one container should be either 2 liters or 3 liters. It doesn't really matter so much what this container is, but the other container should be like one of the regular milk 2-liter milk bottles, either like an Anchor brand or a Meadowlands brand, one of the ones with a handle like this. And the reason why I use these is because they're flat, and also because it has this handle, which means that I can't actually use this in the same way as I could use something like this for a container, because that handle gets in the way. But I'll show you what I use it for later. Anyway, as you saw, I poked a hole near the base of this container, which I've cut the top off of. And now I'm going to add a root hole. So I'm just going to place the scissors into the hole, like so. I'm trying to do it in front of the camera. There we are. But instead of cutting around as I cut with the top, in this case I'm trying to make a hole, an aeration hole, right? Or a root hole. So what I do is I just twist the scissors around like so. And I'm going to do this on 2 other sides. Now I've cut 3 root holes in the container, and so we're ready to go on to the next stage, which is preparing the base. So what I'm going to do is just take off the sticker, and then I'm going to, well, firstly just have a look roughly where the how large the larger bottle is, and then I'm just going to take a mental note of that. And actually, quite conveniently, in this case with the Just Juice 3-liter bottle, it's quite similar to this shape which you have here actually in the Anchor bottle, the Anchor 2-liter milk bottle, but slightly larger. So anyway, all you have to do is cut a hole that has to be slightly smaller than the base of the Just Juice bottle. And this does not need to be pretty. And in fact, it won't be pretty, almost certainly. But it doesn't really matter. Because the thing is, this plastic is extremely flexible. very, very pliable, and that's a very, very important property that we're going to use. So as you can see, very simple. Now I'm just going to have a tester, see how large, see how it fits. So, in fact, it looks like it's going to fit now. Now, you might end up having to, you might want to make the hole a little bit smaller and then like slowly, iteratively change the size of the hole. But in this case, that actually looks like that's going to work perfectly fine. As you can see, you don't really need to worry about cutting the hole perfectly because it's more about the flexibility of the plastic rather than actually the size of the hole. So now I'm going to add my water wicks. These basically are biodegradable material which allow the water to come in through the hole but stop the soil from coming through the hole into the watering aquaponics tank. So I'm not going to mess around. I'm just going to basically roll up the end of the wick and place it through the holes. And the good thing about these biodegradable wicks is they will biodegrade over time, and then you get your roots which can come all the way through the bottle into your aquaponic solution. And this basically is a self-sustaining growing system, and the plants don't become root bound because of it. Place the wick materials through those holes so you can see they're plugged up properly. So now is a somewhat more difficult part. You want to put the bottle back into the container with the wicks intact. So you just want to squeeze it in there the same way you did the first time. With the wicks first, probably, because otherwise the wicks might not come through. There we are. Beauty. Beautiful. Excellent. So, again, as I said, this is my no fuss, no frills video. Just want to get straight onto doing what we're doing. So, now for the last final stages. Well, not quite. We're going to add our soil first. And today, I'm very fortunate. I've been able to harvest some more worm casings. So these are from the worm compost bin, but these are very, very well composted. This is about 2 years of sitting in the worm bin. Actually, I got them from my cousin, but yeah, very, very well composted. And so I'm going to be adding that along with, here's a mixture of regular compost you buy from your garden supply store, and also just some regular garden soil. Because we're all thrifty, right? We're all trying to. Sometimes you don't have the money to spend a whole lot on just getting a fully compost and full potting mix that you buy from the store, because that can become expensive. Here's the real magic right here. Here's the worm compost. And the rest I'll fill in with regular compost. And the reason why I have a mix is because the worm compost is somewhat less aerobic. It's somewhat less porous, simply by nature of the compost you buy from the store, or the compost that you have that's made of wood chips, is very porous, will breathe well, the roots can come through, but more importantly, the water can drain through. Okay, so there I'll go up to about that high, and then for the top layer, I'm just going to add potting mix. Just like in any other tutorial video I've shown you with my planters. There we are, beautiful. Maybe a little bit more, just to get close to the rim. Okay, wonderful. Now I'm just going to water in the plant, water in the soil before I add my seeds. So there's a good maybe 1.5 cups of water and it'll drain through naturally, as you see, and that'll drain into this chamber. You might want to take the lid off. You can always just check the water level by taking the lid off. Today I'm going to be planting sweet basil. You can get this from the warehouse, like I said, for $2, super cheap. Pick them up, and this is beautiful, beautiful stuff. Technically, this is not the season to be growing it, but the nice thing about container gardening is if you grow these inside, if it is a cold night, you just bring it inside to your water chamber or somewhere warm, and they'll be fine. So you can grow plants. And so what I do is I've just got a couple of seeds here on this piece of paper. Literally, it's just as simple as you just basically sprinkle them in to the top layer. Maybe just drop on a very, very, very light top surface layer of soil. Sprinkle on the water on top. Now if you don't have a mister, that's fine. You can just sprinkle a little bit of water on top. Right. But if you have a mister, it's nice just to distribute the water, and you don't want and that way you don't drown the seedlings. You just want to be light with your water on top. And here's a top tip, which I actually wanted to show you for the other container gardens as well, is for the seed germination stage, you really want to have a nice grow chamber that remains moist. Well, one really good trick to do that is you take the top of another bottle and you place that over the top of the chamber. And so that's like a little mini greenhouse now. That'll keep the moisture in over your seeds and will keep it nice and moist. And finally, I just add a little label which has got the date and sweet basil on it. Thank you very much. There you go. That is that easy. Now we've got this awesome self-watering container garden which you can make really easily at home from 2 plastic bottles, 1 milk 2-liter bottle and 1 3-liter bottle of any type. You can make this really super easy at home. Self-watering hydroponic container garden from 2 plastic bottles.